Moving on. What were some of our
was-
discussion topics
Justice systems
in
in
fiction?
writing, which is relevant to Braveheart. You mentioned they ripped his balls off in real life. Mel Gibson added a bunch of Christ iconography into the death sequence.
We cannot talk about it
in the entire
but
movie.
We are watching we are reading Shadow of the Conqueror, and I feel like this would be a very relevant part of this discussion.
It would. Yeah.
I swear this comment is my
put
wife.
this-
I swear it's my wife saying this. It's not me saying it to my
Yeah, no, both
Yeah.
two wives are in the chat. This is a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, discuss
no,
justice. I'll be right back.
Justice.
Discussing justice systems, kind of forgot a little bit what I was thinking about when I put that topic up. Yeah, no, I mean that's obviously an important aspect you're going to have to think of when you're creating a new world.
Like consequences
the alternative
that go along with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I mean,
for your hero.
Yeah, if you got a make believe world, and that's why Kuda's mentioning Shad's book. You'd imagine the laws and everything are going to be different. I mean, if you have like a very fantastical place, like you can imagine there's different laws depending on which city you're in. But those are very important and crucial into the blood of the world building, I think. Wise are best ones.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of stories that are very popular, whether it be this or I guess maybe not Shad's book to a degree in part, not that we'll get too into it, but there's a lot of movies where the justice system is sort of in place, but it doesn't necessarily apply to everybody the same way, and as a result of that, people take actions, and it makes it easy for you to get on their side because you can see how the justice is not being doled out in a even-handed way. I think it's one of the easiest ways to establish like the bad guys and the good guys, and to get the audience to absolutely side with the good guys. Because
by examining the justice that they deal out. Yeah.
The way justice is carried out in a movie, for sure.
Yeah. Is it straight to death, or do they just leave people crippled in a back alley like Batman?
And is it
questions?
Are the judges crooked, or are the politicians crooked, or the cops crooked? The jury, whatever it is.
Yeah. What kind of sentence is it? Yeah, for your vigilante, how is he sentencing everybody?
Do they rip off their kahunas? That's the real question.
Just like Braveheart, relevant. Anyway,
no
more kahunas. Yeah. But yeah, I would agree with that. Just like how is the justice dealed out? Like I actually in my comic I used that as a device with my protagonist. Like as soon as he comes back and finds out something happened, we see how he reacts to that with his new position as king. And like he's got people's children following him at that point. Like he's the king, right? So and he's like leading other people, I don't know. And their choices affect everybody. It's very relevant with stories like for instance, Breaking Bad has to end that way with Walter, with what happens to Walter, no spoilers, because of just the nature of like who he is as a character. Like it's a reverse character arc he's following.
Well, spoiler for Death Note, justice to the main character is dealt with in the end of the anime and the manga.
Yeah.
And I would say that for that character, it is justice, regardless of the end result of some of his actions. He had become the embodiment of evil, not justice like he wanted. And the ultimate justice was his fate in the end. Also, sorry, I was laughing so much because I was reading the freaking chat, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta control your
What's going on?
Control
I'm on my
your
phone.
sea
I
women.
can't read the chat.
What up, Swag King? What up?
But it's definitely a good way to like if you want to another easy way to like flesh out your world like easily is like put some thought into the justice system, because that's going to speak to some of the morals of the culture as well, because it tends to be influenced on the justice system as well.
I'd say it's one of the best direct ways to look at what a society values.
True.
Like for example, like we could go to real history. Let's go to ancient Hawaii. You know the demigod of Maui. The people talk a lot about him, but one thing they don't talk about very much is that he was a thief. That's because in Hawaii, stealing wasn't done in secret, or at least like the end result wasn't kept a secret. It was almost boastful. It was like a warrior's jest. It was,
I drink your milkshake.
Have stolen from you, and I will display it proudly because I was able to steal from you. And yeah, if you have the wait,
Kahunas.
Yeah,
you could take it back. And yeah, that's part of the Maui demigod mythology is that he went and he stole fire to share it with the people. He stole a lot of different things from the gods and from dangerous creatures to give to the Hawaiian people. A lot of Hawaiian mythology involves the giving of gifts, specifically to the Hawaiians most of the time. But it's also reflected in their culture. They have a whole holiday where they're very giving to everyone, not just themselves, but to other cultures. That's when Captain Cook landed in Hawaii, and they were given many gifts because they didn't understand that it was a time of required peace. And then they went out, got caught in a storm, like, oh, let's go back. Those people were so nice.
Anyway. I'm picturing them taking, like, stealing from them, like, I stole your stuff. Hey, welcome to our island. Here you go. Just like hand it over.
No, King Kamehameha, he stole. They have these little ships that they need that the larger Old English ships would lower down. Usually 2. They were called dinghies or a variety of names, but they were very, very important because not every place had a dock where you could just dock a giant boat. And so without this boat, like this tiny little dinghy or the attachment boat, you're screwed. They lost one in the storm. They came back to get help. And King Kamehameha went in. He stole like 25 muskets in the boat and a bunch of the bayonets from the other guns. And they were just like picking their nails and like carving wood on the beach with the bayonets, just fucking mocking the English, which they took very well.
And then another great example of historical justice, the Aztecs capturing their enemies. Their warfare, they valued capturing them alive over killing them. So it wasn't about just like...
Yeah, sacrifice them.
Yes. Yeah. More gifts for their gods. That's their justice system, right?
It's like, we have a mighty gift. The prisoner's like, oh, what? You.
Yeah.
Don't move.
Oh,
or
dang it.
Force them to play.
They dress in gold, spray leopard piss like cologne on. I think he's ready.
We got 5 captives. That's five of our children we don't need to sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. The gods need it regardless. The gods
this
drink
month,
human They drink.
It's fun to be a god.
Now the other thing too with justice systems is that they only exist if the people like participate to a degree.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw in Braveheart as well, that if things don't work out, people will turn. It reminds me of Robin Hood as well.
Fighting the unjust.
Yeah. Robin Hood didn't steal from the rich, he stole from the tax collectors. He was just like reclaiming what was taken
man,
from
that was
them.
one of the most
It's like he still rich good board. He just got their stuff back, man.
It's a fundamental
that's
story,
one of the most
man.
annoying things. Is when you hear people being like, well, Robin Hood stole from the rich. No. He stole the money back that was stolen from them. Taxes.
Because
being overtaxed. Right?
Yeah.
That could be an interesting theme for some week. Go through the different iterations of Robin Hood from Men in Tights to the animated.
There's only one like Robin Hood Men in Tights is great. But there is one definitively good Robin Hood film.
No, there isn't.
Spirit Animals episode 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, so which
one are you thinking?
Yeah.
The Kevin Costner one, Prince of Thieves.
See, I disagree. I think it's the one with the foxes.
Delete that sauce. Delete him.
I think it's a good one. That is a good one.
No, the Fox one is fine. Yeah. It doesn't hold a candle.
It's a little bit better than
it doesn't hold a candle to the Kevin Costner. The Kevin Costner one is definitive. You go lick a fox's butthole, dude. I am correct.
Are we talking some Waterworld here? Is that going to be a post-apocalyptic week too?
Kevin Costner week.
Costner week. Waterworld. Calling it. calling it.
Dance. Oh, hey, let's kill. Guys, let's kill. Let's deal a deadly blow to Justin. Let's watch Dances with Wolves.
No.
Ooh.
No. What's that, like 9 hours?
A 19-hour-long film.
Just the entire box set of Band of Brothers. Let's go. And then we explicitly have to watch the bonus content so that we all cry.
The thing is, though, with TV shows, I feel like there's something, at least with the way my mind works, it's like a book. If you have 5 chapters that are 5 pages versus 1 chapter that's 25, I'm like, oh, chapter's done. Oh, chapter's done. And I get through 25 pages like that. But if it's 25, I'm like, oh, man.
You need a checkpoint and a congratulations to finish a long movie?
There's something to, like, if a movie's broken up into episodes, kind of like a TV show, like what we're saying, the miniseries.
Let's watch Braveheart, the 5-part miniseries. Let's go.
Did they make
that? Let's go.
No,
I don't know. I'm not well versed in all the different cinema art pieces that are in the world.
Justin, if it's not exciting, Justin, do we need to put like a screen of someone playing like Temple Run or something above the screen while you're watching?
I have it.
What do you need?
It's right there. Yeah.
Do we have more to say
it's Subway
about
Surfer.
Justice
Get it right,
Systems, boys? Justin, what do you have to say about Justice Systems?
Yes.
What do I have to say that I haven't already said?
I don't know. I was just playing up your name.
Oh yeah, that's what my name. That's what it means.
Anything.
My name is from Justus. I think it's Greek or Latin. Just means justice. Yeah, it's just a for time became Justin. Yeah.
You chose the justice card when I made you guys choose cards. That was awesome.
Yeah, and that's why, because it's like, hey, it's my name. I'll pick that one.
Didn't say justice on the card anywhere.
Oh, it didn't?
No, it didn't. It was the bastard. You chose the bastard, and it turned into the justice card.
That's even better. Why did I choose
I know.
I probably was like, "Who naughty or that one?"
Yeah, the bastard. Yeah,
that's funny.
And it turns out to be your name. It was crazy. Yeah.
It's the bastard.
The bastard.
Wow.
So,
it's like, I named this card after my friend. No.
So we can learn a lot from cultures and like stories and stuff from their justice systems. You can learn a lot about a character too, like if they don't want to kill them, like how they find solutions to the problem. I think the anime Demon Slayer actually has like the main character is basically exercising each of the demons. He's trying to redeem them in their final moments, I think, is like,
or at least acknowledge them.
Something like that, yeah. And you just learn a lot about
Demon Slayer's lame.
Bat sauce. Sea bats. Like, I don't know.
Rein him in.
Go get him. Come on, sea bats. Go get that boy.
He's free right now in his military grade baller suite over there. Military style.
What are you talking? It's a hotel.
Yep, exactly.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're not home. Anyway, get him when he gets. Anyway, but no, justice systems like
out of my tour bus.
In a live action like non fantasy setting, it's interesting because it's usually a snapshot of the belief system of the day, in whatever, like especially like court case movies, lawyer movies, or where that's an important element of the movie. It's always interesting to see the belief systems. Like, is the justice system sufficient to give people true justice in this situation, or does it fall short? That's where you get films that are about vigilantism, or like that's always a moral quandary with like Batman and such. It's like, what he's, or Matt Murdock, Daredevil, is actually better about that because he's a lawyer. He knows the law that he actively breaks, and he plays both sides of it. It's a pretty strong contradiction, but it makes for some really interesting storytelling and character work.
Vigilantism comes in, it needs to come in when there's a failure of the justice system. And, Daredevil is a perfect example of somebody who has a complete understanding of the law and understands that what he's doing is a necessity because the law is not able to do everything that it needs to without the assistance of somebody kind of working on the side breaking it.
Well, like the Wild West stories have a similar idea. It's basically like we are creating a semblance of the law out here, but this is in some ways a lawless land. So in some ways the justice will always come down to the individual or individuals who feel that the law is unfit to produce a justified result. And so Westerns are another fun way to explain that.
I don't know,
man. She's really big into preaching. What can I say?
Yeah, I think you also have to be very careful with your vigilantism. You want to make sure that your newfound fix for the broken justice system doesn't end up being worse than the justice system. But
that's us, Coon.
Well, it's like with Matthew Murdock understanding the law and kind of doing vigilantism correctly. Batman, another person that does it correctly, right? You have another character like the Punisher, who's I think you'd say that he's not doing it correctly, but that's not really why we follow the Punisher. We're just like, he's on a revenge path, and we just want him to cause chaos. But we wouldn't say what the Punisher is doing is good necessarily. We definitely understand the character. We're definitely like, yeah, I get it. But you'd also be like, yeah, but like a better person would come in and, deal justice more like Batman probably would. But we're not watching the Punisher for a better person. We're watching the Punisher to kick ass and take names.
Well, I think society, like different times in different societies, requires different kinds of justice. I think, despite my belief system, that there are times when you need somewhat like if the system is so far corrupt, has gone so far down, justice is unmet, and criminals are not only not punished, but they're praised and even lifted up.
Well, so depends which Punisher story, I guess, right? Because there's some Punisher stories where it's like, yeah, the justice system has gotten that bad, and you need something like the Punisher. But I mean, the Punisher, like many comic book characters, the story's been told 1,000 times. I mean, there's a ridiculous comic where the Punisher, I think he guns down or beats the crap out of a jaywalker.
That's crazy.
Jaywalking.
So it's like some stories, the Punisher is just like he's going way overboard. A lot of stories, but it's fun though. It's fun. It's like
With the Punisher though, the one thing that I didn't really like, but it made sense given the character, is that he's clearly wrestling with the fact that he's not following the justice system. He's taking it into his own hands because that spirit of vengeance and everything else. But you can tell he's tormented by it. At least I think I saw Warzone is the one I'm thinking of, where he's not dealing with it all very well. It's not like he's like, I'm in the right, guys.
Yeah.
It's like it's clearly grinding down his
Are we the baddies?
State.
Are we the
baddies?
Are we the baddies?
You're the British.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. But
Self-insertion.
I think
this.
last
After
point,
this.
I think.
After this.
I think it's an interesting way to put characters in, from a storytelling perspective, into a very challenging situation, because it's not like in an unjust system or a lack of justice kind of in the system can put a character in a very challenging position where he has no direct adversary. Think of like Game of Thrones, like when spoilers for the movies and the books, when Tyrion gets arrested for the death of Joffrey, justice is failing him. Even with his what was it? I demand a trial by combat scene. Even that attempt to free himself from the punishment of a crime he didn't commit fails. But it does a lot to advance the story. It shows a lot of characters for who they truly are. And I thought I love when a scene regarding a lack of justice or good justice can do that in a movie or a book.
Yeah. Well, then it also says, I mean, in this case, your justice system also talks about your belief system, that you believe that, or the people believe that justice can be settled by God determining who's going to win the fight. Right.
Also, the fact that you don't have to be the one to fight for your justice. I feel like that kind of defeats the whole point. But that's like, yep,
No,
who
it
has the
doesn't
most
matter.
money?
God
I
will decide
hire
it.
that 7.5 foot tall monster. Who do you have? I have a skinny foreigner with a poisoned spear. I
You just
hope
gotta
it's
get-
enough.
Get you Michelle Rodriguez. She'll take care of it.
Oh,
Dude, Michelle Rodriguez gets the pass, man. I like Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh, okay.
She was the voice of one of the female Marines on Halo 2, and I liked her. I like her in movies sometimes. It's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because of the class that she's playing in that movie. She's a barbarian. She's got to be able to. She gets the manhandle.
Yeah,
Characters.
that made sense. and
Describe
after
describe
I
her
realized that.
manhandle. Describe her manhandle. What? Doesn't sound right.
But whenever
I have a
think,
manhandle.
we need a barbarian, I don't go, Michelle Rodriguez. It's not the first human that comes across my mind.
Short Mexican girl. That's who I picture.
Yeah.
Actually, I've dated a few of those. They're not entirely off there. Actually,
Yeah, barbarian's not a terrible pick for them.
he's more interested in
All
how
right.
she handles a man. Oh wow. Okay. I'm not sure who she's referencing.
I said self-insertion, and you guys went Michelle Rodriguez.
I did not hear you say self-insertion.
This is how
Giggity.
we self-insert in our stories. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So
Also, AC,
yeah,
you
let's talk
promised me
self-
really strong orc self-insertion in your books. I didn't see any orc insertion in your book. Sorry.
There's zero insertion. Yeah.